Hi guys, it's me, Jesselyn Machine again. And for this video that I will be dedicating to my birthday month in June of 2026, I shall be talking about the next movie in the line of the Fast and the Furious franchise. Very originally named Furious 7. It's obviously the one in the bunch. Lucky number 7. Now, beside that, the fact that the number 7 is also a very special and very touching movie for me, and for many of the other fans of the franchise, because you see, this is the last one that stars Paul Walker as Brian in the movie, because unfortunately, after production was made for this, he was tragically killed in a car accident. So yeah, that was that unfortunate mess, and you could tell that it weighed heavily on the other actors in the movie, because they were all crying and very tearful and very sad at that tragedy. You could tell because when they were making the last few minutes of this, they made like a tribute video for Mr. Walker, and it was very sad and very touching, especially for those of us who have lost important people in our lives, like from example, my mother, or over 7 years ago. Hey, wouldn't you know it's 7 again? But anyway, they have a very touching tribute to him at the end, in which Vin Diesel actually said that he's gone home. And it's very tragic to see him playing on the beach with his wife, played by Jordana Brewster, as Mia with his baby. I don't forget the baby name, but whatever. And then they have Dominic Toretto driving alongside with Brian on a country road, and then they have Brian turn off the road and take a detour off into the sunset, which is very touching, because if you believe in heaven, you believe that he went to heaven, and all that entails. So yeah, that was a really touching tribute to him. Also, the song "See You Again," which is really nice. It's kind of like a little mini music video in which Tyrese Gibson and Michelle Rodriguez, as well as all the other people, are very touched by working with this wonderful man. And it's wonderful because I know him personally, but I know him through acting and the stories about him, and hearing that he was a real stand-up guy, a real charming type person, a real go-getter, and a very fine actor. You could see his performances in this franchise, as well as movies like Pleasantville and the like that. I think there are a few movies that I was surprised to see him in there. But I know best from Pleasantville. But anyway, R.I.P. to him for a very fine acting role And I believe that in some of the stunts that are performed by him, I think that he's being portrayed by his brother. No, I'm not gonna make a Doug Walker joke in here because the Walker brothers in the channel Awesome are as good looking as Paul Walker. So, besides that, this movie's awesome. I mean, not because it's good or anything, but because it's got very interesting effect scenes and very I would put this way, they say that physics is not law in this movie. It's just a mere suggestion because there's so many out there special effects and some scenes in the movie that it's very unbelievable, and it'll make somebody like Michael Bay clean their pants from watching it because they'd be so envious and so jealous of seeing the booms and the this and that and the other too. So yeah, besides the part of Paul Walker, it's very it's a very popular course, nice cars, hot women type of movie. And if it wasn't for that Paul Walker death, this would just be a random run-of-the-mill type of Fast and the Furious movie. And before I go on with this little review, I gotta introduce you to my little rubber ducky over here. And he's there to commemorate the president's new job that he's doing a real great makeup job with the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pools. Being that it's Hulk green, I figured that this would be perfect for the fan. So I love Rubber Ducky. Yeah, I have a couple waiting in front of me yet, but being that the pool is like a leprechaun piss green, I figured this would be a perfect tribute to that. But anyway, this movie is it's special because you know how much I love whenever they put that trope of the last ride in there for everybody. For this is gonna be the last job we're gonna do. This is the last epic money maker, and after this we're going legitimate we're gonna retire. Yeah, well, they keep saying that for every movie until they're done. Pretty soon they're gonna be doing the Fast and the Furious in wheelchairs. Although granted, for this movie it was Paul Walker's last ride as Brian. So there was that little epic tragedy, fortunately. But anyway, they had to try to do a last job. I forgot what it exactly is, but they have to stop Jason Statham with his God's Eye program, which is basically a surveillance system where they use cell phone data and cameras around the city or around the world to track different people. And if that doesn't sound familiar, it should really sound familiar from one of the Batman movies. I believe it was Christopher Nolan's Batman, which I think it was one of the bad guys in one of his movies made the God's Eye, or maybe it was Batman. Yeah, it was Batman himself where he created the God's Eye monitoring system, in which he would keep an eye on Gotham City. And I think what Lucius Fox said that no one man should have this much power. So imagine that's the entire world. And then with Jason Statham as being the main bad guy who's in charge of everything, you get a pretty interesting bad guy. Now, they pull a lot from other movies too in the franchise. A lot of the actors, like important people, like Lucas Haas from Tokyo Drift, as well as Han. They get Freddie, of course. They get Dominic, they get Brian, they get a bunch of other people too. But unfortunately, they don't get Giselle for this movie. I guess she may have been too busy filming like Wonder Woman, got Gadot and all that. So unfortunately, she's missing from this action movie. Which is all fine and dandy if they have enough people in there. And they get a new person in there. And I gotta say, she does look pretty nice in the bathing suit. And she does some kick-ass action parts. Unfortunately, that's about it. You just put in there as a hot character. That's it. And somebody else said in the movie that she is one woman that you can realistically jump out of a plane for. Now, I would never jump out of a plane for a woman or on a woman's behalf. I would just jump out of a plane just because of how it's fun. See my video on that. It's on my channel. It's on my Skype video. That was very fun, by the way. But no, you just don't have these people jumping out of planes. Oh no, that'd be too simple. That'd be too mundane for them. What they do is they jump out of a plane in cars. Yeah, they actually have a whole fleet of their cars. Jump out of a plane into enemy territory, and then they have them all parachute fine, land on the roads fine with no problems whatsoever. Nothing bad with the suspension on the cars or whatever. Everything fine and dandy, and you can drive at speed with these vehicles. And believe it or not, that's the only type of weird shit you see in the movie, because you have them doing like highway chases, of course, in like a major city and stuff like that. And then they also have this is really fucking weird, but they have a part where they have they're in Dubai, and like in Dubai they have like skyscrapers and such. I would never know because I never actually been to that part of the world. Although I would like to go there if I ever win a lottery or pet milkable or whatever. Or if I become president and start milking everybody for all they're worth. Anyway, if they go to Dubai, right? And then they actually jump buildings in sport cars, which I would believe. I would believe that you could do that. I mean, it would take a lot of speed, but I believe that you could do it just like that, over 88 miles an hour or something like that. But the only problem is that when they do that stunt, they have the cars maneuver around like the support beams and like kind of in the rebar and stuff. While the building's under construction, they have the car racing through it. So by making all these turns and all these zigzagging stuff, you lose a lot of speed. So unless you go full tilt on it, there's no way that you can make that jump. Or you could make the jump, but you would be you would lose a lot of vertical space in there. So you would make the jump, but you would start out like floating 90 years, 100, let's say, and you would end up at like floor 50, if that. So also, another part with that team I really like, they had the guy there where the car's gonna land, and he's over there, see, no. And then he dodged out of the way of the car, and then he apparently warned the other people in the building that there's a car coming, and the jerk off is still on the phone, on his cell phone. You know, you would think that if there's a car coming your way, you would dodge out of the way and drop the phone, you know. Who gives a fuck about the phone? The phone costs like $100, maybe $200 at most. Or if you're doing an iPhone, like $1,000, let's say. But I would think that if you're dead, or if you're injured, who the hell gonna give a shit about the phone anyway? You know, drop the phone, get the fuck out of the way, and then look for it afterwards. More of that famous phone culture that we see of the youngins, that they don't care about anything but the phones. And they spend too much time talking on their phones. They don't give a shit about the outside world. So anyway, they also have flashbacks from Lily's perspective about how they show you know, all the past, you know, about the car crash where she got into, I think 5 or 4, you know, past 4 and past 5, where she lost all her memories and then she went to a coma or something like that. So they showed that, and they also showed the part where her and Dominic Toretto get married. Now this was not in the movie, to my knowledge. Maybe it wasn't like a deleted scene or behind the scenes, something or other. But yeah, that was actually really funny. Here's why. Because, you know, we get married, it's supposed to be sacred, it's supposed to be honorable, it's supposed to be magical, more or less. And, you know, even if you don't believe in God. So they have Letty all there in a weight wearing dress, which is very nice. Michelle Rodriguez looks really nice in the dress. But then they actually show Dominic in the muscle shirt. Now and then, but it looks like a white beard shirt. So you're trying to tell me that you are in a very special event where you're a very special little lady with a shirt that you take to work every day, or you race with every day. Goddamn smug. You know, this should be a special event. At least wear a black shirt to be, you know, one of my hillbilly weddings, you know, with the tie and all that. Don't in this shirt. You know, don't do it with a muscle shirt. That makes you look stupid. I'm sorry, but when it comes to the wedding, you should dress more appropriately than just a t-shirt. I'm surprised that he didn't wear. I'm surprised he didn't go topless for this thing. I mean, sure, the women will probably like it, but still, that's kind of that's very stupid. Even for Dominic Toretto to wear that. And also, it's kind of hard to do this, especially with what I said about Brian, you know, passing away, the actor. But in the course of the movie, there's a big helicopter type of assault, and they were to kill Dominic Toretto, even though he's more stubborn about dying than a cockroach. And he ends up getting a little knock on the side of his head. And Brian, of all people, over there saying, get up, you fool, breathe, goddammit, breathe, get up. You know, when everyone's hoping against hope that this guy survives it, he does survive it. Which makes it really hard, even harder to see that Paul Walker passed away after this movie, but still, it was a nice little thing. Anyway, during the whole thing, they have The Rock there, bringing him back, helping him out and stuff, because apparently their homies liked him, even though one's a hard-ass cop and the other one's Vin Diesel. And, that's really funny, because before in the movie, The Rock's character was put into the hospital for some reason. I don't know why, maybe it was something that happened between Fast 6 and this one. 6.5 if you will, or whatever, but it doesn't matter. So anyway, they have, they had the guy, get, hospitalized with his daughter there. Now, I thought that the daughter would be the same girl from the game plan. That would be kind of cute, actually. But no. So anyway, they have him with their arm cast on. And then later on, when he breaks out of prison, when he breaks out of the hospital, he ends up taking the arm and then destroying the cast with the arm from the inside out. I'm pretty sure that that's not how it works out. I'm pretty sure that those things are so hard that you would need a sword to open it, to crack it open. But anyway, he gets out of the hospital, and he is tough enough that he's able to use a minigun to actually shoot down the chopper that attacked Dominic and bring it down with Jason 6 minutes. And then Jason ends up charging at Dominic with a like a final type rush attack. And he ends up going to jail in the end. But then they actually do a thing where they do Dominic gets into car crash from the attack. So what happens is that right after he removes the cast, by destroying the cast from inside out, he's strong enough to actually lift up a giant piece of concrete with rebar, and then he needs Dominic underneath it. So basically, the Rock saved his life from another rock. So that was like kind of unbelievable, but it was so awesome. And the fact that Brian actually helped him out in the end too. But one thing I really like is that the bad guy, Jason Tatum, is taken into custody, and it's like a supermax prison cell, and it's The Rock public with Jason down the corridor, and there are gun turrets trained onto them. He said, these turrets aren't meant to keep you here. They're meant to protect you against me in case I get unless I get roguish and take it out myself. And he says, do you think this will all help me? then the guy says, no, I don't think it's a hold you, but if you start digging and you make it through 36 feet of concrete and lead, then I'll be waiting for you outside with my fists and a body bag. That's kind of badass, if you ask me. He became more of a hard-ass cop to being more of a guy who's willing to kind of cross the line for justice's sake. So kind of like almost like a Deadpool type character, the Rock became. So I kind of like this movie. It's kind of a guilty pleasure mine because of all the stunts, all the explosions. So I've given up with kind of how many times in this one movie that physics would be defied. How many times these people would be dead in real life if that stuff happened to them. You know, besides Paul Walker and stuff. You know, how insane some of the life and death situations are where they always walk away scot-free or with minor scratches on them. Case in point, if you were driving a car and you were skydiving with the car, I would think it'd be easier and safer just to airdrop the car into wherever you want to go and just parachute the person, you know, near the car onto the car or something, rather than just taking the whole thing and just driving off the edge off the edge of an airplane. That so overblown and so ridiculous. I actually enjoy it a lot. And then you have the car in Dubai. I don't know if they did anything with a swimming pool, but they should have done it with a swimming pool too. Let's see. Yeah. But this movie was very good in that the guy gets put into prison. Not killed, but just put into prison. I like this movie. Although, if they want to make an all-star cast, they should have a lot more people like Giselle, like some of the people from Tokyo Drift, from Japan. They should have brought back Devin Oki. I mean, they brought back Ludacris and Trey Parker. Brought back Tyrese Gibson. They brought back let's see here. He brought back Jordana Brewster. And I don't know if they brought back the same kid from Fast and the Furious 6. But they brought him, they did that. And let's see here, they should brought back they should have some new action stars in there. Although Giselle would be nice too to see there. In more ways than one. Let's see here, yeah, but that's about it. I like the movie. It was cool. I don't like the fact that they were constantly doing over these women over there. It was like they were in like a competition to get the new girl's attention. Like a bunch of horny boys at school. Which I don't really like because, I mean, first of all, every man in this group wouldn't be going after this one woman. I mean, there are different tastes, there are different personality types and all that junk too. So to have every man outfit full of one girl was actually really stupid. And plus, I would imagine that if she was lesbian and she didn't like men at all, you'd be like, oh, 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 crap. So yeah, that was really kind of stupid. But I do like when she had the British accent. I love the British accent. And I know everything there is to know about loving the British accent. But yeah, it's kind of dumb. And let's see here. I would like to see the two other guys from Fast and Furious 5 or 6 to Latin guys that did the tow truck. They were funny. But this is a big budget Fast and Furious movie. Can't have everything you want. So yeah, I thank you for watching my video on Furious 7 from my birthday month in 2026. It was very, very tragic that this is Paul Walker's last movie ever, his last ride, if you will. I think that was probably the most well-known aspect of the movie, unfortunately, and it was kind of a real serious bummer to go out on. But besides that, this movie just pretty fun and ridiculous and just pretty stupid. Some of the songs, and the uncanny valley was strong with this one, and the unbelievability was just off the charts. Especially with the guy with the cell phone and the car dodging it out of the way. So, as such, to give this movie a happy face Liverpool, because it's freaking nuts. It's a guilty pleasure at this point. And they recycled that God's-eye technology idea, concept from Batman movies, which I don't particularly like too much. Anyway, if you like what you hear and you want to see more of my videos and stuff, you can always like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. You can also comment for future information on my videos by calling or texting me at 631-707-3707. And you can also reach me by following me on Twitter or X if you prefer it. Or you can email me at jjviewingchannel@gmail.com. So let's you everyone that likes these movies and these hot action, cartoons, the basically high budget cartoons at this point, with the I'm surprised that they didn't have like a Wile E. Coyote-esque scientist to help me, and then they fall to death again, the Warner Brother cartoons. But it was pretty funny, and at the end, when they were doing a tribute to Paul Walker, Tyrese Gibson actually said something prophetic and deep and profound, rather than his famous one-liners or common release lines or something like that there above. It was really sweet and kind of touching, because you really did believe that Paul Walker was part of their extended family. You really did believe that they were buddies at church and friends, and that Paul Walker and the others would have beers at like bars or barbecues together, just have a good time together. When they weren't working on set. So yeah, I like that happened. You know, when you hear your family, and like you told my mother after she passed away, we will all meet again one day. We will all be reunited again. Family, friends, and maybe even pets will all be reunited again. So yeah, very tragic. So peace out, my brothers and sisters. I'll see you in the next video. All you girls and guys in internet land. Sayonara. See ya. Ciao, ciao.